that
All right. Well, gee, I think we got well into a quorum here. Let me call this Budget Ad Hoc Advisory Committee to order. It's Wednesday, September 27th. And we already got a screen up here, but if y'all would just join me for a moment of silent prayer, I would appreciate it. Amen. Thank you, Lord, for our many blessings. All right, so we're going to continue our review of departmental requests. We have two departments today. First up is the police department, then Parks Department. So Amy, unless you've got some opening remarks, I'll just turn it right over. Who's going to lead us, Cheeto?
Yeah, I take the lead and we can fill in the blanks if there's specifics.
Okay, y'all take us away.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The first on the list is the DNA laboratory. That's year 3 of 5. The department will be requesting 3 of the 5-year budget plan, which will include a forensics biology examiner position and all supplies associated with the position. In addition, this will include maintenance fees associated with all equipment purchases in FY 2023 and consumables needed to become certified and accredited.
So this 184,000 will get us into the DNA business?
Yes, sir.
That's good. Councilmember Shade, you have a question?
It's kind of hard to hear him, Mayor. If he could speak a little bit closer to the microphone, maybe, or
Yes.
He's a little muffled.
Yeah, I think when you're in the conference room, chief, that can occur. So I don't know where your mic is, but let's try getting a little closer. That'd be good.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now, Councilman? How that sound?
Much better. Thank you.
Sorry about that. I was way by the door. All right. Number 2 on our list is the 2024 police vehicle replacements. This request is for an increase to the current baseline lease purchase budget from 1.6 to 2.1 million to accommodate the purchase of replacement of police vehicles. This request is based on the continuing rise in increase to goods, services, and fuels associated within the vehicle industry. In addition, the increase will cover the projections that have been forecast by the manufacturers, the dealerships, and regional sales representatives, not allowing for a full replacement with prolonged current police vehicles, which have reached their lifespan and continue to increase in cost for vehicle maintenance.
Yeah, I think the costs have been going up for all the vehicles year to year. I know Scott has been working with Katie McCain a little bit, and still we may be a few years away. I know Volvo wants to do an electric car for police use. Have we, have we drilled down a little bit into when we might start making some transition?
Yes, Mayor, I know Scott has worked with Katie on that. I think the dilemma that, not to speak on his behalf, because he is the SME on that, but he has talked to her a lot about that and drilled down. The issue that I think we're going to be running into is the charging stations, but he is continuously having those conversations with her and looking at different options.
Great, thank you.
Yes, sir. Continuing the next on the line item is increase the overtime budget line. This is a request for an increase to the overtime budget associated with a 4-year history and to accommodate an increasing amount of citywide daily and emergency details. Overtime shifts include CPD supplemental teams, patrol, city-sponsored special events, and other events managed through different departments within the city.
Could you put this on
That's the next screen, right?
the next screen? We're
Yeah.
still looking at those first 2 items.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm having some really
bad computer problems right now, so I'm gonna stop sharing and have Andrew share it because my computer's completely frozen up right now.
Oh, okay, no problem,
Sorry about that.
no problem. We'll get Andrew maybe to share and get us to the current spot.
Mayor, how you doing today?
I am doing great.
Good, good. That was a grueling last night.
Oh, it was fun. We missed you, man.
I was there. I was.
You vacated yourself.
All right, so let's see, Chief, you were on the overtime request?
That's the overtime budget line.
Everyone can see my screen okay? I just want to make sure.
Yes.
We can now, thank you.
Thank you.
Andrew. Yes, sir, thank you.
Andrew, can you scroll down to the next one, please, sir? Thank you.
Any questions with overtime?
Back to the overtime, how does that compare to, didn't we cut it a year or two ago? Is that really just getting it kind of back to where it was, or do you know?
No, sir, this is actually an increase to the overtime budget. We did receive this year our initial COVID cut back into the budget. But this would be in addition to receiving that back in.
Mm-hmm. Okie dokie.
All right.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Shade, thank you, sorry.
So are we increasing it by 500,000 from 144, 450?
Yes, sir. The 644 includes the FICA and the retirement that's required for overtime costs.
And so that's a huge increase. What is the justification for that?
Essentially, over the course of several years, a department typically operating just on normal operations with, as well as the increases in the different special events, it's to accommodate where we typically end up at the end of the year, prior years as well.
So we go over every year in overtime. And this is pretty much based on the 4-year history of it.
If we were staffed up totally, would we need that overtime?
I can't answer that, council member, because a lot of, even though if we get to fully staffing, a lot of our different special events has increased. I mean, we had over thousands of different special events last year, so it's increased a lot. So I really couldn't answer that because we've not been fully staffed for a fairly long time. I'm not sure the last year that we were fully staffed. That'd be a hard.
Are the special event folks paying for any of this?
They are, but those are duty requests. Those are off-duty requests. A lot of these that we're seeing are city-sponsored events, such as like Mojo, the Bridge Run, even more or less. There's a lot of different events that the city sponsors as well that are not covered by the special event side.
Okay, thank you.
And just to follow up, a lot of the coverage for the upcoming Mojo event is going to be on duty coverage. To kind of paint a picture for you.
Okay, thank you.
It just seems like a huge jump from where we are to where we're headed with that. Is that something we're tracking for historical basis for that increase?
Yeah, it's based on the 4-year project. The last 4 years, we've always went over in overtime. So yes, sir.
That's like a double negative. We always go over on overtime.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Number 4 is the resource specialist. This is a formerly grant funded position. This request is to fund a former Volcker grant funded position, resource specialist. This position is critical to the victim service unit. This position is responsible for the projected costs of salary and fringe, and all other items are already in place for the position.
All righty.
The next one would be an increase in travel and training budget line. This request is an increase associated with the travel and training budget. The department consistently seeks out opportunities to develop personnel in policing skills, tactics, and techniques. It is critical that all training and development needs are met to ensure personnel are equipped with the appropriate skills and resources needed carrying out the critical roles within the community.
And you all have some specific conferences or training opportunities in mind with the budget increase?
Yes, sir. So one example of that would be the command socialization. Anytime we have a command officer that's promoted, it's our goal that we ensure that they get the critical training associated with the new position. That's leadership training. Usually it's a several-week program between like SPI, which is the Southern Police Institute, the National Academy, and we also been using Charlotte Mecklenburg's training platform to continue our education, but all that stuff costs. PERF is also included in that socialization.
All right. Any questions? Let's go to the next one.
Next will be the DOJ costs for holding juveniles. This is a request for an increase in the contractual service budget line to accommodate the costs associated with housing juvenile offenders in Columbia Juvenile Detention Facility. In early FY 2022, the department began receiving invoices from the Department of Juvenile Justice for housing our juvenile offenders who have been charged with City of Charleston charges. This cost pretty much were incurred for pretrial housing of the juveniles in Columbia. In most cases, the offenders were either transferred or refused admissions into Charleston County Detention Center for Juveniles.
And this was a situation, if I remember, they surprised us a little bit by sending us the invoice. They used to not do this, correct?
Yes, sir. So in the past, under the different administration at the sheriff's office, we would never refuse admittance of our juvenile detention offenders. Under the new administration, we had to make accommodations when they stopped accepting certain juveniles. They had to go straight to Columbia. Columbia charges the city to house those offenders.
Gotcha. Councilmember Shade?
Yeah, I'm a little puzzled by this, even though this is a small number here. I am somewhat puzzled by it because when, number one, we got a brand new facility in Charleston County. I've seen a couple of clients out there and it looks pretty nice. So why are they refusing these juveniles at our Charleston facility?
It comes down to available space up there, Councilman. We've been given a wide variety of reasons in the past, but usually it's because they say they don't have any beds for our offenders.
Well, that's their problem. I mean, once because usually these kids are going home unless it's something really terrible that they've been involved in. And I mean, I know how the system works, but if they don't have room at the end, that they have to make that accommodation. I mean, the detention of a juvenile is by state law. This is not, it's a totally different ball game. And I don't want to get hung up on $26,000 when we talk about a multi-million-dollar budget, but from the principal standpoint, I'm just kind of perplexed by this whole thing that that another agency is charging us for their statutory responsibility.
And that's a conversation we've been having with our legal as well. And just for the record, anybody that we're actually trying to house in a juvenile facility is not for minor offenses. So it's someone that we have to house. So it's usually major crimes. So we don't have an option to cut them loose. And the only other option that we're faced with is traveling to Columbia to house that juvenile. And that's where the cost incurs.
But we have a contract with the county, right? To accept our local juveniles here. Y'all know, I mean,
Well,
What's the system in place for the Charleston County the Center for Juveniles?
Rick, you got something to add on this one?
Yeah, I know Julia and the county attorney have been working on this, Councilman Shay, and trying to get to an understanding on it. I don't see Julia on the call, but I know she's had several meetings and conversations to try to basically stress the point that you're making.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to get too bogged down in $26,000, Rick, but it's
Please don't.
yeah, I know, but it seems like I just don't want this thing to balloon into something else, and they start charging us for housing all juveniles, or even the sheriff's department going, well, we're going to start charging you more money for the general sessions offenders as well. It's more like something that needs to be nipped in the bud kind of mentality. But
Yeah.
well, if you're working on it, that's fine. Like I said, I don't want to belabor that point. I'm just perplexed.
Well, let's leave this in the request, but have that separate conversation about the how appropriate this whole billing is. I know it had concerned Chief Reynolds as well. All right, what's next?
Next is the travel costs for operational events. This specific request for base budget line is to be used for lodging external partners needed in support of annual bridge run and other operational events, in which the department must seek additional law enforcement resources from other agencies outside the area. This event and others bring in thousands of additional tourists and locals to the downtown area. So to ensure the safety of all personnel, it's incumbent that the department at least ensures necessary resources are available. That's what that budget line is about.
Yeah, I just, again, that's not a huge amount, but it would seem to me that if it's outside external partners coming in, that the bridge run folks themselves ought to pay for this rather than us. We're taking care of our personnel, right?
Yes, and we've had this discussion for several years when Chief Reynolds was here. Dustin is now leading that discussion.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, DC Thompson. I added this in this year just because it seems like it's contentious every year of where we're paying for when I request the outside resources to come in. This is specifically for hotel rooms and per diem, specifically for K-9 resources that might have to come in the day before, so they're fresh and ready to go for the bridge run and any other big events like the museum opening. But every year we're trying to get better with the safety and security of those events, and the requests are coming from the from our police department. And so that 7,200 is the high end for that based on what we spent last year. Mount Pleasant and Bridge Run did kick in last year, but I thought it was beneficial to have at least a dollar amount in there should we have not just Bridge Run, but other events that are coming in when I'm requesting people from all over the state to come down.
All right. Well, try to bill Irv for anything you can, is all I would say. Rick?
I was going to say, Mayor, we give the Bridge Run an awful lot of hospitality, ATAX dollars.
Yeah.
And if these people are coming in to help, they're almost like tourists. I mean, they're not our residents that we're housing. So maybe we just give them a little more ATAX dollars to cover this expense.
Well, we certainly did. We actually did that this year, Rick. We just ended up billing them minus the amount that they chipped in for. We minus this amount from what we invoiced them for the overtime cost for Bridge Run this year. So we kind of did that similar.
All right. Let's do like Rick said and look at both sides, how much money we get them and how much they're billing us. All right, next item.
Next item is an increase to the uniform and PPE budget line. This request is to increase the uniform budget line to accommodate current projected and planned purchases for all units within the department. This includes, but is not limited to, just patrol personnel, uniform needs, but also specialized units such as traffic, SWAT, EDT, K-9 warrant, CDU, community outreach, and etc.
The big thing to note on this one too, Mr. Mayor, is that there is a 7 to 10% increase in that contract for our uniforms. The vendors asked us for that increase several years, but obviously kind of held them off.
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Sorry about that. I said a big piece of this budget line too includes increase to the contract amount with our current uniform vendor. They wanted to increase that contract for several years, but with COVID, we kind of held them off. At this point, we are kind of to a point where we need to increase that contract cost.
Mm-hmm. Well, 10% of 325 is 32,000. 90 seems like a pretty big increase for uniforms. I want to provide y'all everything you need. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot more. It's almost 30%.
Yes, sir. The contract increase is actually only 25,000, but the remaining funds includes increases to cost for our ballistic, our vest replacement program as well. So we project out how many vests we're going to replace each year, fiscal or annually. And so that's included, as well as like gas mask replacements. There's a multiple, a list of items that actually comes out of this account. So 25,000 is just for the contract increase. All those other items are replacement costs.
I see. Okie dokie. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next up is the external carrier program. This is a request for year one of a 3-year program to outfit officers with the external carriers or load-bearing vests as an option to alleviate the weight of the traditional duty belts. Officers have the ability to remove up to 4 items from their duty belts and provide officers with undershirts that increase comfort by reducing sweat. This would also provide a dedicated location for body cameras on the uniforms. And this is year one that outfits 80 officers.
Under Armour?
Yeah, similar to it. Yes, sir.
All right. More special events?
Yeah, special events is fine. This request to increase special events budget line due to the increased costs associated with goods. In addition, the department is look to and sponsor many local events associated with partnering agencies, departments, and jurisdictions. These events, which are not geared towards community outreach, but more towards developing personnel within the department.
Hey, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if we may, can we do limits like we did in the others? Anything
Yeah.
under 10, let's just move on.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Okay.
Thank you. Line 12 is the increase to vehicle maintenance budget line. This is an increase to current vehicle maintenance budget line due to the increased costs and goods over the years. Since 2019, the average cost of motor vehicle parts and equipment have increased by almost 25%, with FY22 being the highest. Any questions on that?
Keep going.
All right, the next one is the increase to capital replacement. This request is for an increase to the capital equipment replacement budget line to accommodate replacement of critical public safety equipment needed for operations based on replacement schedule. Aluminum bolts for haul patrols, to be able to access smaller waterways and creeks, replacement to airboats, replacement to speed measuring devices, are some of the examples of what will be included in that.
Okay.
Next is the prisoner extradition program. The Charleston Police Department Warrants Unit works with local, state, and federal and law enforcement partners to identify and locate fugitives from justice. The goal is to track down wanted suspects who are either reside outside the state or have fled South Carolina to avoid arrest and prosecution. This is also another change that took place under the new administration with Charleston County. They no longer provide that service for the county. Each individual agency is responsible for their own extradition.
Huh. Who is our partner primarily with that? So U.S. Marshal?
No, Mayor, we do it ourselves. The marshals rarely go get people. Basically the law, the county did not have to do this. It was something the sheriff just did for everybody in the county. The only way the county ends up taking over extradition if somebody's already had their initial hearing and then they flee. These are for people who haven't had their initial hearing, meaning they just now have their warrant for their arrest. And so it fell back on us. And so we had to get our people trained up. We got a vehicle for them to be able to travel. When it's closed, they don't have to fly and things like that. But the marshals do help, but their criteria is pretty strict on who they'll go get and bring back. It's usually just tied to federal crimes.
Gotcha. All right. Let's keep going.
The next one is the establish a non-capital computer equipment budget line. This is a request to establish budgeted funding in the non-capital computer budget line based on the needs for replacing current existing in-car cameras, DVR components, and various cables associated with the computer components.
Okay.
And the last one, Ms. Mayor, this is the fitness app membership for officers. In 2022, the city of Charleston solicited for fitness app demos for all sworn officers at the police department. Specifications include access to the app for mobile platforms, daily fitness training, courses with descriptions and video instructions. This is all part of the overall mental health component of what we promote at the city. So that's what this app kind of accomplishes throughout the department.
Does our HR department offer something like this already to all city employees?
No, Mayor, they don't. We actually worked specifically with HR on this project. This fitness app is actually primarily specialized for law enforcement job duties, more or less. The FBI, some of the larger agencies actually utilize this, but currently the city does not have something for other employees. Not a fitness app.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we're good with the tools. So that's a total of $1,430,000 in changes or increases. Is that right, Cassandra?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And what would that bring the total department budget to? Do you know?
Including all the other divisions, I believe that would put us in, and I can't speak because of the personnel services, basically the fringe, if those would increase, but it would put us at about 62. That's with the other divisions, 62 million. I know Andrew's on the line. It depends on what those, the increase for the salaries and or fringe too would include. We don't have that yet.
Okay. And anybody got any questions, council members, anybody?
Mr. Mayor, the COPSI grants where after 3 years we have to absorb the salary. How's that going?
As far as I'm aware, right now, council member, we do not have any positions that are under that grant right now. We tend to try to not stay away from that grant, but we're very cautious and careful about that grant because you have to specifically show where that position is being utilized for that grant, and you can't kind of intertwine those positions. So since I've been here in 2019, we've not really applied for that grant. And as far as I'm aware, we don't have any positions that are funded through that grant as of right now.
Okay, thank you.
Were there any new positions being requested in the budget for next year?
Yes, sir. The DNA Year 3 costs include a biological examiner, and then the resource coordinator is technically a position being requested because it was a prior grant funded position.
Gotcha. Okie dokie.
Just for a note, Mayor, the biological examiner is a critical position for the forensics. They have to have both positions filled to do the caseload to get us accredited as well.
Thank you. Councilmember Shade.
Thank you, Mayor. We're not charging for those forensic services, are we?
Right now, there's no plan to do that, Councilmember Shade, but I know that Judy Gordon has looked at other agencies that have forensic labs to look at costs that we could potentially charge on once we start taking that caseload, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, because we, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but just about everybody in the state almost uses these services, don't they?
Not ours, Councilmember Shade. Sorry, go ahead.
No, we, yeah, like right now our DNA lab's not going, but as far as like our narcotics lab to do that testing, they will assist others, but most people, like with marijuana, because of the fact now it all has to be tested to make sure it's over the 0.03, we've told agencies we can't take that on for them any longer. So that all goes to SLED, since they're the only other folks in the state with the DNA lab. As far as NIBIN goes, it's pretty much all in-house because the county is the NIBIN facility for this region that has to be free to other agencies. So they usually don't come to us for that. And then as far as like our cell phone stuff we do, we don't outsource that because we have enough ourselves, and we were able to do an initiative with the neighboring agencies to bring the cost down to where even the agencies like Somerville were able to get their own equipment by doing a deal with Cellbrite to make that happen. There are discussions when DNA is up and ready that if we take on other cases, we would possibly charge like Richland County and Beaufort and other agencies do to recoup the costs associated with that. But since SLED will only do DNA for crimes against persons, they don't do any property crimes. One of the big reasons to have this DNA lab is so we can utilize that for burglaries, stolen cars, and other things. So we probably won't have a lot of room unless it's an emergency situation to even take on stuff from other folks based on our current caseloads.
Listen, I think that we got one of the best damn labs in the state, if not in the region. But I just know that we get tasks from different agencies locally, even in, out of the Tri-County area, for some of the stuff that they expect for free. So I don't know if, as you're looking at it, I think it's great that we're doing a community service for law enforcement across the board for other agencies, and we're being very cooperative with that. But I mean, we're funding this on the backs of state or city taxpayers. So I know you develop a lot of goodwill with doing all that, and it's good policing, obviously for all the right reasons. But at the same time, we're stewards, and I don't know what this cost us overall or what we would receive. But I think at some point we need to have that conversation a little more seriously and head up in that direction. But not just for the DNA stuff, but for all the other services that we provide. I mean, it's top-notch stuff. I know. Anyhow, I just want that conversation to continue at some point, figuring out if that's feasible, what that would look like, what other agencies are charging. There's no free lunch. Because part of it is not just the expense of doing it. When we have to have these guys appear in court, that takes time away from their in-lab work when they are testifying as well. Anyhow, that's just my two cents.
I think good comments, suggestions. Have a financial analysis of the forensics lab, and if things that we're doing that are saving other people money, we ought to be at least aware of that. So anyway, that would be a good goal for next year, to wrap our accounting around that, some of those items. Good idea. All right. Well, thank y'all. Any other questions for the police team here from council members? Thank you. It seems like most of the expenses here are in essence cost of living increases, other than getting the DNA lab and a few other things going. So in today's world, like I'm not surprised that everything from overtime to vehicle costs to shop expenses, are going up. They are everywhere else as well. So thank you for taking those things into account for next year. So we try to stay on budget and stay on track.
Thank you for your time, Councilman. Mayor, appreciate you.
All right, next up
Thank
is
you.
the Parks Department. I see Jason Kronsberg's on the line, and looks like we got his chart up here already, spreadsheet. Jason?
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me okay?
Pretty well, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
You coming through like you're sitting on my desk.
That's a good thing.
Hey,
All right.
Council members, if I'm going to adjust my screen to where I'm just seeing Jason and his team. So if y'all have a question, I just shout out, please. Thank you. All right, Jason.
All right. So we have 8 pages here, and that goes through Parks Department, CPD, CFD, Recreation, plus Joe Raleigh Ballpark. I don't know how you all want us to go through this. I can start on page 1. It's a lot of information. I want to make sure that we give you the best information that we can give you.
Let's talk about the items that are, say, $20,000 plus.
All right, so the way our budget requests is set up, and who's controlling the screen here?
I think
Andrew's controlling it, but let me just say one other thing too for all the council members. This list is an updated one from what I sent you last night, so I will send this out to you after the meeting, just so you know.
Okay, thank you, Amy.
So right, it's been rearranged a little bit. So what you have in front of you is, well, the first, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 4 pages is strictly staffing. So what we've been doing over the past couple of months is we're looking at 10 years. And we know that our department in the city is going to evolve in 10 years. And so we've tried to identify our greatest need currently for staffing, but then sets us up for a full department reorganization, if you will, or again, trying to project out what our needs are over 10 years. The flow charts that we have built out are more intense than what you have here. Again, we just tried to pick what we thought were our immediate needs as far as staffing goes. So the first 4 pages are staffing. And I will just say that I've been looking through all of our position control reports back to what I have verified back to 2003. In 2003, there were 159 budgeted positions in the Parks Department. Now that changes every year and over every 5 years. And then what I have verified in 2020 is 153 budgeted positions. So again, back to 2003, of those 159, there were 135 positions filled. Jump up to 2020, 153 budgeted, 116 filled. So even back to 1990, it doesn't change that much, that drastically, other than there were 128 budgeted positions. So if I had the fancy graphics, it would be able to show you how stable the staffing has been from budgeted positions, but that hasn't been commensurate with the growth of the city, as you all know. So with that being said, I'll just jump right in here. In addition to what we're calling as a reorganization, we're always looking at existing open, unfilled positions, looking at how we can use that existing budgets to really tackle the needs of today. So this first line item is based on us reclassifying a number of positions to create positions that we need today, which don't have vehicles assigned to them. So this number is for the number of vehicles that you see there. It's the lease purchase is not a big ticket item, $26,000 a year. So that just kind of that's just getting staff the vehicles that we need.
Okay.
Coming down to the item number 2, as most of you have heard, if you haven't, we struggle to keep up with our athletic field maintenance. These 2 lead groundskeepers we're requesting are strictly for ball field and athletic field maintenance. We cross the city from Daniel Island to Johns Island, and there's only so much time in the day to get to all these locations. A lot of travel time. So the more people we have, the less time we're on the road, the more time we're in the parks, keeping them maintained for the recreation programming.
Hey, John, can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
Have you thought about creating, and I know it's a huge expense to do this, but regional sheds to, I mean, you're bouncing all over the county, 2 counties to handle this stuff. Does it make any sense to create regional sheds like we do for police officers and substations?
So yeah, that's a great question. Like for instance, Daniel Island, most of the maintenance for our park spaces is contract maintenance. So we have the new Daniel Island Rec Center and we have Fire Station 18. So facilities wise, we don't have to have someone there all the time, but most of our park spaces on Daniel Island are under contract maintenance. Our infield work is not. So to your point, we kind of do that already. We have a crew that reports to West Ashley Park. They're based out of West Ashley Park, and they service most of that outer West Ashley area. So as far as the 2 opposite ends from outer West Ashley to Daniel Island, we kind of operate that already. If you look at Johns Island, we have Johns Island Park. Hopefully we'll have a rec center there, so we'll have a little bit more of a footprint out there as park spaces expand. We just, coming back to answer your question, the needs change daily, and we're always trying to evolve with our recreation programs schedule. So great question. We're kind of doing that. So it's a bit of a hybrid right now.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly would cut back on transporting equipment back and forth, transporting gas, and I mean, whatever way you organize this, Jason, that just seems to make some sense. That's a long-term kind of plan to do. Of course, you're going to buy the land to erect the shed to store the stuff, but you're thinking about that now, and I think we need to pursue that at some point as well.
Yeah, and the more people we have doing that work, the less travel time they have, right? So, and to your point, what if for Cainhoy Peninsula, once we start getting more park space out in that district, that's certainly a consideration we'll have to take into the plan.
Okay.
So
Jason,
any other
Jason,
questions?
if I could, Jason, ask you a question. I know we talked in the recreation committee about talking with Charleston County Schools and what they were doing with contracting and things like that. Is there anything further on that for the coming year?
We have all of their information as far as how they operate their contract maintenance. They just don't have the volume that we have and the multiple user groups. So a little bit easier for them to do it because they're not chasing hundreds of fields a week. So, but we do have that information, and our plan is to start crunching it to figure out if there's a contract scenario versus the internally staffed scenario.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
The,
for example,
Drew, any questions?
well, just following up on that, I mean, if you're saying that most of your Daniel Island stuff is done by contract other than the fields, you know, maybe you just go all in and hire that out, the fields out over there on Daniel Island as well, and avoid that travel time for that one function, you know, if the school district has some people you could maybe get quotes from to do that piece of what we're doing. Just a thought.
Yeah, and that's on the table to look into. We just haven't gotten there yet.
Gotcha. All right. Carry on.
Number 3 is a new horticulture crew. So what we're trying to do these days is, with all the new facilities that come online, the renovations that we're taking on in-house, we really would like to start hiring hort crews versus our regular grounds crews. The hort crews get paid a little bit more. They have a little bit more specialized experience, and they're able to go in and really to provide a gardening type maintenance versus our traditional park type maintenance, where we're trying to cover lots of territory and lots of trash scenarios in the day. So this is just kind of how we're evolving so that we can keep up the quality experience in our parks around the city. And these are all detailed in the explanations to your right, which again have been updated probably since you received them, but you can go back through it with a finer tooth comb and ask us any questions as you keep evaluating the budgets. Item number 4, as recommended by Novak Consulting a few years ago, they recommend that we have core trash crews. So this is a trash crew that then goes out and circles our parks every day, just focusing on trash. A lot of times our grounds crews get bogged down in the daytime just chasing trash. And again, this will give them more time in the day to do more traditional grounds maintenance other than just emptying trash cans all day. With the number of visitors we have in the city and going to a 24-hour tourism economy, we know that we have to be running trash twice a day in our iconic parts and our more heavily trafficked areas. So we're trying to, again, make ourselves more efficient, and that's what this is about. And you'll see down the way, we're also going to be asking for contract funding to do that second shift in the evening trash rounds to make us more versatile. So then keep going to the page 2. Again, we're still at staffing. We have one spray tech right now that handles all of our athletic fields. So we have over 200 acres of manicured turf spaces for recreation sports, over 80 irrigation systems, almost 40 baseball and softball fields, 25 multi-purpose fields. So we just need to be able to get to all of them to keep our turf up to the levels that we expect internally, as well as you all and the citizens that we serve.
Jason, if I could ask a question, you're talking about turf. Has anybody in parks looked at the balance of what it would save us by going as compared to the cost of what it would be if we went to some artificial turf in some places?
They both require different types of maintenance. We've never crunched the numbers as far as what our savings in supplies is. And then there's that whole big question out there on, a lot of people don't like the synthetic turf, but it certainly is a lot more durable. But we've never crunched the numbers on what our savings would be. Even if we went to some additional synthetic turf, we only have one spray tech right now for the entire city. Then number 6 is an off peninsula daily trash crew doing the same thing, taking core trash services off of our grounds crews so they can focus more on parks maintenance versus just focusing on emptying trash cans all day. Again, back to the Novak study, this was a recommendation from them. Number 7, we have one urban forester for the city, and this is an urban forestry contract manager. Every year, we supplement our forestry staff with contract money. You all have approved that over the years. We've rebounded considerably from our COVID decline in funding. So we use this position daily. We just don't have this position because we're splitting it up amongst existing staff, taking away from what they're supposed to be doing. Although it's all of our responsibility. So this position would supplement our contract pruning scope, which happens around the city. It also would help with the urban forestry street tree master plan or street tree inventory and maintenance plan that we're getting ready to start, that you all thankfully approved not too long ago. We should be kicking that project off pretty soon. So once we get the new software in, this person would also be responsible for keeping up with that street tree inventory, entering in every work order that's completed by our forestry staff so that we keep a track record of the work that we're doing, and we know where we're going each year. Again, much more detail in that write-up, but trying to keep moving through this. Number 8 is, again, back to what we're talking about of reorganizing the department. We have a couple of different assistant superintendent positions that we would like to create. And this is about giving the depth of our org chart less linked, if you will. So if you think about our org chart now, we have not a lot of people up here and we have 2 long lines of people here. We want to spread that out and create a couple more assistant superintendent level positions that can actually manage these things. Right now, we have 2 superintendents that are managing special events, athletic events, and we need to give them help to be able to properly manage those divisions, if you will. So our athletic division, we're asking for a superintendent, an assistant superintendent there, and that person would be over our athletic field staff that we've talked about already. And then number 9 is assistant superintendent for special events and trash services. Again, as a 24-hour tourism destination and the number of special events we have, we don't have the ability right now to keep eyes on our event holders when they're moving in, moving out, or how they're utilizing our parks. And it's all written up in the permit, but there's nobody on site holding their feet to the fire with how they're using our parks. So this is about protecting our assets and providing better management of our existing staff.
Jason, this might be more of an Amy question, but Amy, just hearing Jason's description, could some of these new expenses, particularly for the peninsula, come from accommodations or hospitality funding rather than the general fund, since it's serving so many visitors? Just so, don't have to answer that now, but let's.
We can look at it, Mayor.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Number 10 is Keep Charleston Beautiful event coordinator. Right now we have Jamie Gillette is our sole Keep Charleston Beautiful program manager. She does an incredible job. Her services are in very high demand, from litter cleanups, educational programs. So right now we have an annual intern, and we would really like for her to have an assistant to help her manage all of the requests that she gets over the years. Keeping on moving down to page 4.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, yes, sir. Please, everyone, just speak up if you get a question.
All right, thank you. Mr. Crosby, let me ask a question on the one you just passed. Do we have a person or, I don't know, a team that when, to no fault of any city employee or resident, but when a truck goes through, for example, not one of our truck, but some commercial truck goes through, trash falls off the back, car hits it, it spreads all over whatever street it's on. Normally right now, that stuff, until it gets eventually blows down into the drain, we don't have a response to kind of clean that up. I've seen that on Herb Fuel and Connector, right up in there by California Dreaming.
Yep.
I've seen it approaching, I've got pictures of it approaching the North Bridge. And recently, yesterday, it looks like, I don't know, insulation, foam insulation or something like that must have fell off somebody's truck. The cars hit it and it just spreads all over the.
Right now, we don't have a rapid response crew like that. We do have contract maintenance in a lot of our gateways around the city, but those pretty much every 2 weeks. So, and basically, we don't have a rapid response team. A lot of times I will stop and pick up bags of insulation. I think we're all doing it, but we don't have anybody dedicated to do something like that.
I mean, can we, while we go into the budget process, look at something like that? Because it happens all over the city. It's just not, I mean, those are 3 areas that I saw, but I'm sure council people probably have their own story to tell. But at the end of the day, if we, whoever truck it fell off, a lot of times they don't know. And a lot of times if they did, they're not going to turn around and come back and get it. But then it's there for all to see. And eventually, again, it goes down our ditches and stormwater drains. So
yeah, other than, increasing our professional services contracts and having those gateway areas serviced once a week. Right now, we're trying to be fair to the budget, trying to keep our gateways clean, but every 2 weeks that stuff does happen. And but we don't have you can call us and we can try to get it. But right now there's no dedicated.
No, I understand. Well, I mean, years ago we used to have potholes everywhere, and then people complained enough, and then we got 1-800 pothole, and it's no longer the problem that it once was because we respond. I'm just wondering whether we could have something like that. And I mean, you're on the spot right now, but if you put some thought into it,
Got it.
we have, I don't know, 1-800 trash, something like that. I don't know.
There's also the Palmetto Pride. But Keep Charleston Beautiful,
Right.
We're all kind of doing that. We just don't have the rapid response scenario yet. Good idea though.
Be good to know, even if we can't do it this budget, it'd be good to know. Maybe next year we could fit it in there.
Got it. So
Something like that
keep
cost.
moving unless there's any other questions on that. All right, so number 11 is our urban forestry juvenile tree pruning crew. So what this is a new crew for urban forestry, which is a very small crew right now and about 9 staff members total, with a couple of them unfilled. We plant, not us personally, but when we build new parks or when developers are building new neighborhoods, we require them to plant trees. And juvenile tree pruning is a way to reduce maintenance in the future. So we would have a crew circulating throughout these newer neighborhoods who are trained to correctively prune a young tree before issues expound based on their more mature growth. So again, we're going to be saving money and reducing risk in the future by handling some of the most obvious issues with young trees when they're juveniles. Then keep on moving through number 12. So as you all know, we're in the heat and the moment of designing our new operations, $100 million operations complex. We need a position to maintain and manage that facility. It's nothing like we have right now as far as the technology and the square footage and the number of city staff that are going to be using that place, we need somebody as quickly as possible to dovetail in with the capital projects design program, so that when that ribbon is cut, we have somebody in place that knows that building inside and out. So they're there while it's under construction, they're seeing where everything is, and there's nothing hidden from that person. So then keep on moving through. Number 13, 2 playground technicians. Right now, we have 1 playground tech in the city of Charleston, and we have over 50 locations of playgrounds. And again, thanks to all of your help, we've been able to upgrade a lot of those playgrounds over the past 10 years. There's more coming. And to keep our citizens and our children safe, we need the ability to have multiple staff members to be circulating throughout our playgrounds, again, from Daniel Island across all 5 districts, the peninsula, West Ashley, Johns Island, and James Island, to make sure our playgrounds are safe. Number 14, and please ask questions whenever you want to interrupt. Another painter. So right now we have 2 painters. It's working extremely well. We're able to take on larger projects in-house and just get a little bit more done. Again, over 4 million square feet of built structure, having that internal paint staff to be able to go out and take care of requested paint jobs and correct issues is what we need to be doing. Number 15 is a new construction project manager in our capital projects division. As you all know, our capital projects managers are all have a very full plate, from small projects to large projects. And that plate of work is not getting any smaller. Hopefully our recreation bond will pass, and we just need the ability to manage these projects to the expectations that we all have. So more project managers allows us to get more projects done efficiently. Number 16, it might be number 16, but this is a big one for us. Overtime. So before COVID, we had been trying to really be more efficient with our overtime. Historically, overtime may have been overspent. Well, it was overspent. And with the help of BFRC and the folks you see sitting around me, we've been able to really dial that in. We've always wanted more, but we have a really good handle on what we're doing now. We're already overspent this year. So what happens is our farmers markets and our special events, they eat up all of our overtime. And thankful for the salary increases that everybody got. But when we get 13% salary increase, that automatically reduces our overtime by that percentage because everybody's getting paid more. So in order to keep up with the special events, athletics, street tree watering, a lot of that stuff we try to catch up on the weekend if we don't get it done in the week. So again, before COVID, I remember what the number was. Clark, what was it?
Way over 300.
It was over $300,000. We're just trying to get back to that. You'll see in the write-up in the detail, again, when we have the opportunity to plant trees in our streets, we bring a staff in for a half day on Saturday, and they're able to water those trees because we want to focus our tree maintenance for stuff on the weekday when we're there for regular duty. We just don't have the ability to kind of spread the wealth all the time. So overtime is very significant, and we're already almost overspent for this year based on the special events, the farmers markets, and salary increases. Any questions on that? I'll keep moving. 17. So we've had we've had a number of vehicles deadlined over the years. So when we take our trucks into the shop, into fleet management, and they make an inspection, sometimes they deadline the vehicles based on mileage or condition. there's, when we're out providing our maintenance services around the city, sometimes, in a flooding scenario, our maintenance crews don't have the option to try to go around. Sometimes they have to go through a little bit. And, salt water is on our vehicles, so they'll deadline our vehicles in the middle of the year, and we won't have the ability to replace those. So right now, we don't have any spare vehicles per se for our grounds division. And that really affects how we split up our staff right now to get everything accomplished. So we need some extra spare vehicles in the division. So then we move into number 18, ag supplies. Again, this is just an increase to that budget due to inflation. So this is where we buy all of our fertilizer, our ant control, and all the stuff that we need to kind of provide our athletic fields to be in the best condition that they can be in. Number 19 is safety equipment for. Go ahead.
Jason, if it's less than 20 grand and just supplies and things like that, just keep on moving.
Got it. Okay. So let's keep moving. We'll go down to 20 grand, keep Charleston beautiful supplies. Real quickly, a lot of times we use that grant money for that. We're doing over 600,000 dog bags a year, and we just need to establish a budget to buy those kinds of things. Number 21, the next page, we have our evening trash collection in our highest traffic parks. Again, at $75,000, we don't know what it's going to cost, but we know it's going to be up around that time, so we can provide 7-day a week, 24-hour service throughout our parks. When, by the time our crews leave in the day, there's a whole another crew of people that come through the parks, whether it's an after-school group, college groups, tourists. So there's a lot of trash everywhere, as you have already referenced. The next item, 22, is the Gilliard Center small oval renovation. The only thing constant about landscape is change. Every time we build something, we really don't have a program to renovate other than trying to be creative. That lawn and all that landscape needs a renovation to keep it up to the standards that we all expect. We keep on moving through plant replacements. Number 24, annual palmetto pruning. Over the years, we've increased our contract palmetto pruning, trying to cover all areas of the city. We tried it once every 3 years, that didn't work. We tried it once every 2 years, that didn't work. Now we know over the years, based on citizen demand, that we need to prune our palmettos every year. So this will give us the opportunity to expand out into other neighborhoods and other areas in West Ashley to get a lot of these palm trees pruned that don't get annual maintenance. Let's see. Number 25, additional landscape renovation projects, Washington Square Park sod replacement, Ferguson Village landscape enhancements. We would like to renovate all of our parks all of the time, but we just don't have established budgets for those. So we would like to, again, go to these other locations that we know we have needs and start beautifying a little bit more. If you all haven't had the chance to go over to Hampstead on the east side, great public-private partnership. We were able to renovate those parks that we all inherited that were built many years ago, and they look really good, and we would love to keep doing that all around the city.
It's really beautiful, Jason.
It's
great
amazing.
job.
Yeah, and it's a great teamwork, neighborhood, and our own staff really went out there and hit a home run. I give Clark and Rodney and our Hort crews a lot of respect for that. So let's keep moving through. Waterfront Park. So that park was built in 1990. It has a drainage system in all of its pathways. There's never been any maintenance performed on that drainage. I'm sure that they're all full of rock and they need to be scoped out. We need to know exactly what's there. We need to know where the breaks are. We need to know what we need to fix. So our pathways don't hold water. If some of you have been down there after a heavy rain, those pathways are so compacted, they'll hold water for days. And we just need to make sure our drainage systems are working. waterfront park raised lawn areas. Again, since 1990, that turf has never been replaced other than patched here and there. And with the new turf that we have out there today is much more resilient to salt water, salt air, flooding. We'd like to go in there with a more resilient turf and renovate it for the first time since 1990 when it was constructed. I'm going to keep moving through. Number 31, Fire Station 9, HVAC. So this is to supplement the current budget that we have there now. This is Fire Station 9 is our headquarters. That building was a state-of-the-art building 10 years ago when it was built. That system has worn out. It's a proprietary system. Wes has got the vendor design. We know what our cost estimate is to replace it. We need that additional funds to make that project happen at the turn of the year for our public safety officials. I'm gonna keep moving. 32, 50 Broad Street. So these old historic buildings, we need to keep them maintained. So the windows are rotting, the paint's peeling, we have leak issues, and we need to replace every single window in that building. Never been done since the city's owned it. There's been little repairs here and there, but it's something that we need to do. This is a capital maintenance program that that we recognize when we're out and about in our facilities, and we're asking for that money to get that work done. Number 33, St. Julian Divine roof replacement. So that building, again, it's been patched and repaired over the years. It's got a concrete tile roof and it leaks. We keep chasing the leaks. They keep moving and it's way up there. And we have a budget request to go in and replace that roof. Okay, number 34, Governor's Park Playground on Daniel Island. When that park was built, there was a custom designed wooden ship that was designed as a playground. Well, we can only patch it so many times, and the joist and the sub wood and that system are all rotten. We're getting work order requests constantly, and we just need to get rid of that timber system and put a more resilient playground structure in there.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, sir.
Was that, you said that was a custom made wooden ship? Was it donated to the city? Did we pay for it when we?
It was part of the capital project when that park was built.
That sounds like a whole lot of money for a playground area.
Playground equipment, you would be amazed how expensive it is.
Oh, I know.
Every year.
Yeah,
that comes back to liability and the vendors having a lot of risk. So playground equipment is very expensive. And yes, I mean, anything that we can get there to replace that old wooden boat is appreciated.
Well, I know just it's $200,000 for a one piece, but that's okay. I don't mean to. It seems a little bit out of whack.
that system, a $200,000 playground would have multi-use, multi-age scenarios. And believe it or not, $200,000 these days doesn't get you a lot of playground equipment.
Yeah, I mean, when we did that project over in Linovar, I don't think we paid $200,000 for that equipment, did we?
No, we didn't. But pre-COVID, post-COVID, playground equipment is, I don't know the percentage, but it probably doubled at least.
Yeah.
All right, number 35. So we have a number of locations around our park spaces. And what happens here is these are stormwater systems. So these are very large inlets, very large pipes, and we've been patching them over the years. So basically, we will get a sinkhole in the middle of an athletic field. We will go out there with our small crews. We will do what we can to try to find a little hole where the sinkhole is being created. But we have 12 locations in our athletic fields where every year we get work request because we have a sinkhole in our athletic fields, creates a safety issue. And this is very similar to the emergency repairs that you see around the city in our streets. When we have a sinkhole in the street, this is the same exact thing. So it's a stormwater issue inside of our parks, and where we have pipe failures and we've never had routine maintenance for these stormwater systems. So we need to go in, we need to get them fixed correctly one time and quit chasing them every year when we get the requests. And becomes kind of a safety and usability issue. Keep on moving. Low Country Senior Center needs a new roof. These older facilities, flat roof, it leaks. It needs to be replaced. James Island Rec Center, we started this year with some interior renovations, and the work that we've done has been incredible, from the pool deck to the gymnastics gymnasium. Go over there. The gymnastics gym looks phenomenal. The users are extremely excited, and the rec department is head over heels on the work that we were able to get accomplished there. So we want to keep that momentum up, move up to the front of the building, and keep making those renovations, flooring, paint, lighting, fixtures, things like that. All right. Moultrie Park, so these pretty simple, not much explanation needed. We need a new roof at Moultrie Park House. We need a new roof at the Jack Adams Tenor Center restroom. Civic Design Center. This building is probably 300 years old at 75 Calhoun Street. We've had a consultant come in, and we've had analysis done on all the brick and mortar in there. We've got some issues over there, and we don't know what it's going to cost to fix yet, but we're working with our design team to estimate those repairs. Again, 300-year-old building, it needs a little bit of work. 50 Broad Street, new carpet. 116 Meeting Street needs new carpet. Keep on moving down. 20, number 44, Moultrie Park parking lot mill and paving. This is where the tennis parking lot is buckled, drainage issues, trip hazards. We need to go in there and mill it, root prune, and pave the parking lot. Bayview Lift Station, Visitor Center painting and flooring. So this is a request from the CVB. Now that they've taken over the Visitor Center, that renovation that they completed over there, it's got some very high-end finishes. It gets a lot of use, and they're asking for some painting and floor refinishing. Again, more requests from the CVB. Bus shed gutters, pressure washing. That's 10,000. I'll keep moving through. Hampton Park bridge railings. We need to replace the bridge railings of that 1980s era bridge over the lagoon at Hampton Park. We don't know what it's going to cost yet, but we're working on that. So maintenance budget increases. Gilliard Complex maintenance budget. We need to increase the base line item for daily maintenance of the Gilliard. We're overspending already. We just need the budget line item to satisfy the needs that we experience over there. All right, I'm gonna keep moving through 51, 52, 53. Construction supplies and materials. Again, the cost of doing business has increased. We're asking for a $5,000 increase, below the threshold. So my apologies there. General maintenance increase. Number 55, maintenance for playground equipment. So going back to our playground equipment. When I started here in 2010 into 2012, we had a $35,000 budget for playground maintenance. So with all of your help, we've been able to renovate a number of playgrounds around the city. We try to do at least one a year. So in addition to the cost of buying and repairing our playground equipment, this budget does that as well. So we have a list of our playground, the years that were replaced, and we have about 5 or 6 more locations to get us out of the 25-year-old playground equipment that's beyond its service life. So increase in funding for that maintenance line item. The next items that you'll see are boxed out in colors. The first one These are the 3 priorities that we were given from the police department. You'll see the values associated with them: headquarters repairs and maintenance, team office renovations, and Brigade Street warehouse renovation. So again, these are based on the police department's priorities, and you've probably already heard about them in the last presentation. Happy to answer any more details about those. So we'll keep going on. The red box is fire station, again, based on their priorities. Fire station 15 renovation, some repairs at 20, fire station 10 renovation, fire station 18, you all approved the design contract last night at city council. So we will be working with our design consultants to upfit that fire station 18 on Daniel Island. Since recreation department moved into the new Daniel Island Rec Center, they vacated a space there, and police and fire need some elbow room to grow into those facilities that gives them better opportunity to serve the public. So again, that project is being designed, and we won't know until we get into the design with cost estimating of what that value will be. It'll be much more than $20,000. Fire Station 12 driveway. So with the new truck down there at Fire Station 12, is that 12? That's
no, this one's Old Charleston Road. We have deferred money for this year to next year.
Old Town Road, Fire Station 12 driveway needs to be replaced.
Just
you know, with the weight of the apparatus, the age of that facility, to preserve the apparatus, we need to make sure that our guys have good driveways to drive to and from their facilities on. We'll keep moving through. This next box is priorities that come from our recreation department. So Bees Landing scoreboards, they all need to be replaced. Believe it or not, I'm sure you remember, we still have the vulture issue, but the vultures peck and eat away at the synthetic materials on the building, on the expansion joints in our sidewalks, and they've totally torn up our scoreboards. We need to replace them. West Ashley Park netting, West Ashley Park fencing, recreation netting around the city, Bees Landing multipurpose, Harmon Field, West Ashley Park. So these are priorities from the recreation department just to purchase and install athletic facility netting. Rec Center window tinting, and then West Ashley Park fence capping. So then we move down into the ballpark 2024 budget request. This is Joe Raleigh Ballpark. There are, I think, 75 trash cans in the facility. They are almost all really old, rusted out trash cans. They leak ballpark waste onto the grounds. They all need to be replaced. They're rusted out. They don't have any bottoms in them. And that first item is to replace all the trash cans that will help keeping the ballpark clean. Continuing our stadium seating replacement. Every year we try to replace seats in the stadium. A lot of them are original. And when you go to the ballpark, you'll see where there's new, when there's old, they get brittle, the UV breaks them down, and we need to keep them safe for the users. Jules Hill is the area along the first baseline. It's been renovated a number of times over the years, not unlike the infield work. It's not pile supported, it sinks, and it creates some little safety issues that we need to get repaired. Wall pad replacement, again, UV, storms, weather, it degrades these things, and we need to keep the wall pads attractive. They're breaking down, ripping, and keep it safe. Replace the service elevator. Again, at 27, 28 years old, it's the original elevator, and it's wear and tear. We need to replace it so that it doesn't break any more than it already does. Locker room, stair treads, 10 grand. Backstop netting, we don't have a cost for this yet. We know that in Major League Baseball is going to make it a requirement, and we just need to be ready to make it happen. But that's going to be an engineered scenario. It's a safety component. So basically, a lot of the Major League Baseball stadiums already have it. They haven't made the requirement yet for the minor league, but it's coming. So we need to get it designed and estimated so we can get the fly ball,
Foul ball.
foul ball safety issues handled. So that was a lot. We know that. We try not to get, it's a lot of work. Our goal is to get it all done in a year. If everything works perfectly, we'll get pretty close to it. Happy to answer any questions. Edmund, Wes, and Clark are here. I know I've been doing the only talking. We all work together very closely every day. We're always running things back and forth, trying to figure things out. So we have a good team. Again, happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right, thank you, Jason. Councilmember Shealy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jason, I know Lori had mentioned something about some lights, some safety lights for West Ashley Park. Was that, did I miss that? I may have, I'm not sure.
It's not in there. Lori talked to me about it specifically. It's something that we're gonna try and tackle this year with, you know, just maintenance funding that we have. But we're looking into that right now.
Thank you. I know West Ashley Park's a little bit different with all the wooded areas around and the trees and the swampy areas and all.
Yeah, her
that.
main concern was that upper parking lot by the soccer field. So that's what we're looking into at this time, just focused in that parking area.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? I guess I would just ask Jason and Amy, like on this page, I see that total is 6,251,000, which is a sizable number, but it occurs to me that a good bit of that is what almost like capital projects items. I know takes a certain expenditure level before we officially make them a capital project, but you know, a lot of these repairs are different from new salaries and operating expenses. So it'd be good to see just a breakdown of how much is for like regular departmental ongoing expenses versus repairs and roof repairs and replacements and things like that.
We'll do that, Mayor. I think we did that last year when we took that section out and to show you what the real number would be. And then whatever projects we decide to do, it would be covered with a transfer in the general fund. And then that fire station number 10 renovation would actually go on the CIP as well. So
okay,
we'll have that for you.
That'd be good. And I know Jason explained this. He had gone over the departmental reorganization with me a few weeks ago, and it seems like a pretty heavy list of requests for increased staff, but I just reiterate what he was saying. We haven't really done the kind of analysis in a while for the overall department efficiency and the way it works now, and then addressing some key needs out there like the groundskeeping and the urban forestry. So I know it seems like a lot, but I think this was pretty well thought out, and a lot of thoughtfulness went into this to think about how this department is going to operate better going into the future. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, or anybody.
Well, that's correct. And you know, these guys sitting around the table, we've been working on that staffing scenario for a couple months now. And you know, thanks to Amy's little nudge to start doing that. You know, we know that there's more to come and that we have to pivot and evolve on a daily basis. And what we've made a request here is not the entire big picture, but it's a start. And we know that it takes time to hire people and get folks trained up. But again, it's a start. And like the mayor represented, we've been working on this for a little while. So everything has been strategically requested based on what we perceive as our immediate needs.
Thank you. All right, any other questions from council or anybody else? All right, well, thank you, Jason and team there. Good job. And next, I think we just have a review where we are, Amy, in the budget process. What's next?
Yeah, I don't really have anything other than we'll meet next week and we'll start going through requests from the departments that we didn't have present. That's what we'll start doing on Wednesday.
Okay, we'll kind of compile the other departments into kind of one session, so to speak.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that was easy. Any other business or come before us today or comments from anybody? All right. Well, thank you all. Good, two big departments to review, police and parks, very important. Thank you all for all that presentation, and we'll see everybody soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.